Welcome to our Traveling Thursday. We are headed to the Cayman Islands tonight. So wherever you are, settle down and come join us. My name is Petra. I'm with Flying Sea Dive Adventures, and on the screen with me tonight, the presenters are Tammy from the Cayman Island Tourism Board, as well as Sarah Jane from Clearly Cayman and Reef Divers. So I just want to give you a little bit of an overview of what to expect tonight. I will be just talking a minute about our company for those who have not joined one of our Traveling Thursdays before, and then I will hand it over to Tammy from the Cayman Island Tourism Board to give us an introduction and overview of the Cayman Islands, how to get there, and what else we may need to know these days. And then Sarah Jane is going to talk about the resorts and the diving. And the highlight tonight will be the two sister island resorts of Cayman Brac and Little Cayman. And then at the end, we will have a Q&A. So I will encourage you to hold your questions until the very end. And then I will read them off, and Tammy and Sarah Jane will attempt to answer every question that you may have tonight. This is also being recorded, which means that sometime next week, post on YouTube where you can find it. And you can also find it under the Traveling Thursdays webpage on our website, flyingsea.com/Traveling Thursdays. Who is Flying Sea Dive Adventures? Well, there's our team of 5. We're actually 5.5 right now, because not that Donna is half a person, but Donna just started as an admin assistant. Dive travel is all that we do. And yes, you got the math right. We are celebrating our 25th anniversary this year. So for 25 years, we have been sending divers to the best dive destinations around the world. And there is many years of combined experience in our team. We pretty much represent every major dive destination, dive resort, dive operator, and liveaboard in the world, all reputable companies to make sure that you will have a fabulous dive trip, your money is safe, and you will come home just wanting more. We are IATA appointed. That means for most of the airline tickets that we issue, we have control over the itinerary, meaning we don't need to be on the phone for hours on end with the airline. Many of you have joined groups that we do with mostly dive shops all over Canada and and the US. So anybody usually can join these groups. And then if either you want to go to a destination that is not, doesn't have a group trip going right now, or you just are not into groups, or you want to go way longer, or you start out with a group trip, but then you say, well, yeah, I've spent a week on Grand Cayman, but now I also want to go to Little Cayman, and I want to spend a week in Turks and Caicos, and then travel around the world. We can do that as well. And so that would be then our individual department. Many of you already know that 25, just because of our 25th anniversary, you will hear that number many, many times this year from us. So on the 25th of every month, we have a draw for a $100 gift card, and we will publish the challenge that we had the month before. So currently, we're asking you to submit at least 2 reasons why you love to travel. And we will publish the top 25 in our next newsletter, and then have the draw on the 25th. Our previous challenge was submit your top 3 dive destinations around the world. And so if you have seen that on Facebook or in our newsletter, we have compiled the top 25. Thank you for all of you who have participated in this. You can either email your answers to contest@flyingsea.com, or you can submit it through Facebook or Instagram. There is a post there as well. And so our top 25 dive destinations, guess what? The Cayman Islands were among the top 10 of the 25. So yay!
Yay!
I do want to run a quick poll. About 54% of you have been to the Cayman Islands before, and 46 are saying, nah, not yet. And then 35% of you have been to either of these sister islands, either Cayman Brac or Little Cayman. So that's pretty cool. I'm excited to see that. And Tammy, you can start.
Thank you so much, Petra. That was some interesting information. I love your challenge, too. There's so many great reasons to travel.
Yeah, and quite a few people already have submitted them. And it's just, very exciting to see why people want to travel. Okay,
so welcome, everyone, and thank you so much for being here. I'm so happy to be here with you tonight and share my passion for the Cayman Islands. So we're going to jump into a little bit of overview and then some COVID information and just give you a nice sort of rounded, well overview so that you've got that information. So currently, I'm just going to jump right in here. We are in phase 5 of our border reopening plan. And what that means for you is that who can travel? All vaccinated travelers. Children under the age of 11 assume the vaccination status of their adult traveling companion. And what the travel process is right now is that all travelers must apply to the Travel Cayman portal for your certificate to enter the Cayman Islands. You'll be issued this certificate. It'll be valid for 3 months, and that is required for entry. All inbound travelers age 5 and over must provide a negative result from a certified antigen test or a PCR test, taken no earlier than the day before departure. Of course, the PCR, we've got 72 hours there, so a bit longer. We have dropped the post-arrival testing, so there are no requirements, of course, unless you're experiencing COVID-19 symptoms. And you're required to have medical and travel insurance with the COVID-19 inclusion, and asking that you're wearing face coverings and observing safety protocols and social distancing in public spaces. So in terms of returning to Canada, what does that look like? Obviously, the sort of same format here, who can travel, Canadians, foreign nationals. Same travel process in terms of testing. So you've got an and or an or here, negative antigen test taken outside of Canada, no more than 1 day before your scheduled flight into Canada, or of course, and the PCR test 72 hours. Post-arrival testing, you'll know that most of the airports in Canada are randomly selecting arrivals for testing, but that means fully vaccinated travelers who are selected are not required to quarantine while awaiting their test results. And of course, check the government site for any updates and complete your ArriveCan submission using the latest app or the website. Just to break that down more easily for you, we've got travel requirements broken down. Number 1, apply to the Travel Cayman portal. So that's the first thing you must do. Second is make sure you've taken your rapid test or your certified PCR test. All travelers must be vaccinated by a World Health Organization approved vaccine. And of course, you must have medical and travel insurance with the COVID inclusion. So more information, please visit our website, visit caymanislands.com/welcome back. Okay, let's get on to the better stuff. How are we going to get to the Cayman Islands? And I'm going to apologize to my American friends out there. I'm based in Canada, so this is kind of a Canada slanted presentation. I will touch on some U.S. airlift, but I will mostly deliver Canadian at the moment. All routes across Canada lead to the Cayman Islands. You've got easy same-day connections for most major gateways within Canada on Air Canada and WestJet. Direct service originates from Toronto. You can get to the Cayman Islands via many U.S. carriers and gateways as well. So WestJet is our prime carrier at the moment. They're offering 2 flights a week from November through April. In the summer season, they drop down to 1 flight per week on Sundays. Air Canada will resume service in May, and that will launch them into their summer season, and it will be 1 flight a week for Air Canada as well. Now, airlift is slowly coming back, and our national flag carrier, Cayman Airways, serves as a valued strategic partner. We're able to work with them on route planning to help grow markets, including gateways from the west. So Denver was one of our last added cities. This is a pre-COVID map of what we look like for direct service to Cayman, and this is obviously where we want to get to The Cayman Islands, where is the Cayman Islands? So we are south of Cuba, northwest of Jamaica. We are 3 tiny islands, kind of broken down by island here, by district. So you'll see your sister islands on the right-hand side, Little Cayman and Cayman Brac, and Grand Cayman is on your left. Now, the more bulbous end of East End, that's kind of tranquil and secluded and very quiet. If you go across the concave area between West Bay and Georgetown, that would be 7 Mile Beach. The body of water in the middle, that's called the North Sound, and this is where one would visit Stingray City. So airports of the Cayman Islands. Post 5-year revitalization project, Owen Roberts, we've got, I don't want to say it's a brand new airport, but we've just revitalized. So it was reopened by Prince Charles in March of 2019. The terminal's tripled in size. We can now accommodate over 2 million passengers, new check-in areas, departure, arrival halls, food court, more duty-free shopping and retail options, and we have a Sir Turtle Lounge that persons can relax in. When we talk about the sister islands, we have Charles Kirkconnell, and this is an international airport, and at certain times of the year, Cayman Airways will have direct service from Miami to Cayman Brac. Now, this is a small airport, so you've kind of got a quaint bar and a cafe in the departure lounge. You can get Wi-Fi and duty-free shopping, of course, not a whole lot, but there's a little bit. And then we have Edward Bodden Airfield, and you'll see here this wooden structure. It shares the building space with the fire department. And this is where you meet your resort transport. They will drop you off here to take your plane back to Bigger Island, Grand Cayman. Or, when you land, you'll be collected here by the resorts. Twin Otter service to Little Cayman, so 14 seats on the aircraft. And if you're looking at Cayman Brac, we have a 50-seat Saab that flies to Cayman Brac, so a little bit more space. If you're getting to the sister islands, now the national flag carrier of the Cayman Islands, Cayman Airways, you've heard me say that, they offer inter-island domestic flights to Little Cayman and Cayman Brac, easy and frequent connections. Check your baggage policy before you fly. And I always recommend to pack your swimsuit and your dive computer in your carry-on. And if you'd like to check them out, CaymanAirways.com. So the allure of the Cayman Islands, why are the Cayman Islands very attractive? Well, we kind of have the highest standard of living of the Caribbean. We have a very impressive infrastructure, world-class medical systems, North American standards for communication, transportation, water, sewage, electric, clean, friendly, and safe, less crowds. We're not mass market. You're not going to find mega all-inclusive resorts with thousands of strangers. We are more intimate and authentic, and we offer evolved, safe, and sophisticated experience. We got the world-famous 7 Mile Beach, culinary capital of the Caribbean, 365 plus dive sites. Most hotels are within 15 to 20 minutes from the airport. You've got a range of accommodation, 3 to 5 star hotels, resorts, condos, villas, an international feel with over 140 nationalities living together in the Cayman Islands. And you've got a 3-island experience. So plenty of reasons to go to the Cayman Islands. Let's talk about our 3 islands. Get pretty specific here. So Little Cayman, you've got about 190 residents, 26 square kilometers. I'm sorry, Americans, that's a little metric. 60 dive sites, that's not metric. We've got an idyllic, tranquil island, marine protected areas. You've got a high degree of biodiversity, world-class wall diving as shallow as 18 feet and dropping off to over 1 mile deep. First world amenities and easily accessible from the US and Canada. High staff to guest ratio, so uncrowded, pristine dive sites. And this is what Little Cayman looks like. So your 60 dive sites, you've got your rec sites, your replenishment zones, your marine park, your designated group responding areas. And as you can see, that the marine park is very important to us, or the marine environment, pardon me, and very well mapped out. Moving on to Cayman Brac, you got about 2,000 residents, 36 square kilometers, 65 dive sites, great for outdoor adventure. Anchors are never dropped in the Cayman Islands. We have a mooring ball system. We also have a pretty amazing Russian destroyer. So we purchased this Russian destroyer from Cuba in the 90s, and we sunk it as an artificial reef, and it's a fantastic dive. You've got wall dives, coral gardens, soft and hard coral. Growth is plentiful. And Cayman Brac is named for its magnificent and rugged limestone bluff that rises along the east of the island. And if you've been there, it's a pretty impressive sight. I love Cayman Brac. It's a pretty special place. And this is what Cayman Brac looks like with its 60 dive sites, its rec sites, its replenishment zone, and marine park zone. Moving on to Grand Cayman, you've got 60,000 residents, 197 square kilometers, about 240 sites, an underwater mountain range. So if you take Grand Cayman, Little Cayman, and Cayman Brac, we're actually an underwater mountain range called the Cayman Ridge that extends from Belize to Cuba. This limestone formation gives Cayman its amazing visibility. You've got spectacular Northwest Point diving, which is my personal favorite. Southside diving, fans, staghorn coral, I can say that. East End has got some great underwater topography, very adventurous and exciting swim-throughs, caves. It's amazing. The west side along 7 Mile Beach is fantastic diving as well. And of course, you have Stingray City in the North Sound, a famous 12-foot dive. And that's what Grand Cayman looks like. So as you can see, very well mapped out. We've got a no dive zone, replenishment zone, the group of spawning area, wreck sites, dive sites, environmental zone. The marine environment is very, very important to us. So Dive 365 is a dive site for every day of the year. It's a comprehensive guide to diving in all 3 Cayman Islands. You've got insider tips from locals, a complete list of operators and services, celebration of amazing diving in the Cayman Islands. You can download a copy from our website, or I can certainly, I'm happy to mail out a paper copy to you. And of course, our generous host, let me just say, Fly & Sea Dive Adventures, fantastic, extensive experience with booking and managing Cayman dive travel for groups and individuals. They know and they sell Cayman very well. You get full support, dive travel business course and dive travel partner program. The travel team has personally experienced the Cayman Islands, and we make sure that every year we take, when we have fam trips, that someone from the team comes along and they experience the Cayman Islands. Full service, one-stop shop, travel insurance, airline tickets, en route hotel bookings, all your travel needs. And of course, the travel blog, the social media, the wonderful webinars. So can't say enough good things about Fly & Sea Dive Adventures. I'm going to entertain you here for a moment. So 9 things you might not expect, you might not know about the Cayman Islands. The fact that we're not actually islands at all. I just told you we're an underwater mountain range, so not islands. 3 islands or 3 peaks of that mountain. As a British overseas territory, we drive on the left. You can walk the entire 7 Mile Beach, but keep in mind, if you're counting steps, it's only 5 3/4 mile long. Culinary capital of the Caribbean, 200 plus restaurants, home of the mudslide. Very good drink. You can experience underwater fairy dust. And what I mean by this is we have kind of a lagoon in Grand Cayman where you can experience the phenomenon of bioluminescence, like kayak. It's quite an interesting adventure. We've got a dive site for every day of the year. We're home to some of the rarest species in the world. So we have a red-footed booby colony in Little Cayman. We've got the endemic ghost orchid or the rare blue iguana. Pretty special things to check out. And only 190 people live in Little Cayman. And I'm going to date myself here by saying it's like Gilligan's Island, with the professor and his coconut phone. Truly a spectacular environment. One of the least developed Caribbean countries going. You can get social with us, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Pinterest, LinkedIn, Twitter. Please engage with us. Lots of social channels, lots of content, lots of really interesting things going on. And with that, I'm going to wrap it up. I'm going to say thank you very much. The future of diving is looking good. I'm going to pass it over to Sarah Jane.
Thank you, Tammy. So just a little introduction for you. So I just wanted to give a brief introduction. You'll see that Reef Divers, Dive Resorts, has recently kind of changed its name. We're still known as Clearly Cayman, but during the pandemic, we did add another resort to our repertoire. So now we are Reef Divers, Dive Resorts, and we added a new resort called East Bay Resort, and that is in the Turks and Caicos Islands, specifically South Caicos. So I'm not here to talk about that today, but that will just explain why our logo is a little bit different than maybe you are used to. So a little introduction to myself. I am the sales and marketing manager for Reef Divers. I have been doing this for 2.5 years now. I used to live in Grand Cayman for 10 years. And in all of those 10 years, I did work in the dive industry. My favorite dive site is, of course, in Grand Cayman because I lived there. And it is called Ghost Mountain. And if anyone is familiar with that one, you'll know exactly why it's my favorite. But to give you a definition, it is a huge pinnacle that rises out of the murky depths. It is on the northwest point of the island, and so generally that is where two currents kind of meet, and it can be pretty murky. And this huge pinnacle almost comes out of nowhere. It is a spectacular dive site, very, very eerie, and just really, really cool all around. So it's one of my favorites. One fun little fact, when I left the Cayman Islands to move back to the United States, I am not originally from the United States. I'm from Scotland, but my husband is from Wisconsin, and that is where we now live. So I am here in cold and snowy Wisconsin right now. So Reef Divers, dive resorts, we definitely have placed ourselves among some of the world's best diving locations. The Cayman Islands are consistently winning awards year after year for the spectacular diving. And Turks and Caicos now is our new addition. We have joined a smaller island, and the diving there is spectacular with some new things that are a little bit different to the Cayman Islands. Right now it's humpback whale season there, so that's really fun for some of us old reef divers to kind of see. Each resort that we have is spectacular. They're always super comfortable. Like I say, we put ourselves in some of the best diving spots, and we want you to feel like family as soon as you get there. So before the end of the first day, all our staff will know your name, will know your drink preferences. We want you to feel right at home and feel like you're super special. You have saved up most likely all year for this vacation, and we want you to enjoy the absolute best of it. Reef Divers resorts in the Cayman Islands. We have Cobalt Coast in Grand Cayman, and we have Cayman Brac Beach Resort on Cayman Brac, Little Cayman Beach Resort in Little Cayman. The maps I have are very similar to the ones that you saw from Tammy, mapping out each of the dive sites. Grand Cayman has about 240 of those 365 dive sites. Cayman Brac has about 65 and Little Cayman about 60. And all of our resorts are located very close to the airports. In fact, at Cayman Brac, the airport is directly behind the resorts. So you have a quick and easy transfer from the airport to the resorts. We use air-conditioned buses, so nice and comfortable. And they're all included in all of our dive packages. So you don't even have to worry about arranging that transportation. We take care of it for you. So why the Cayman Islands, and also why Reef Divers, dive resorts? There are other dive resorts in the Cayman Islands. I like to think ours is the best. The Cayman Islands, of course, we just talked about it with Tammy. There's warm, clear water. Our marine life is spectacular. And in fact, the COVID-19 pandemic really did our reefs and marine life a favor. We seem to have a little healthier reef system since the pandemic. So that's nice to see. The waters in the Cayman Islands, they're mostly current free, apart from my favorite dive site where the two currents meet. But it's great for photographers because of the clear water, no currents, mean you can really kind of stabilize yourself and get the best shot possible. Our resorts, we pride ourselves in finding the best chefs possible. In fact, it is one of the comments that we receive again and again and again, is that our chef-prepared meals are absolutely delicious, out of this world, and people come back just for the food alone. In fact, Chef Gregory, in that picture there, he makes the best granola on this planet, and anyone who's been there will attest to his homemade granola. Past guests do love us. They return again and again. In fact, our return guest ratio is super duper high. We have had guests that have been returning year after year for 25 years. So as long as Petra and Fly and Sea have been in business, we've had some of those people come back again and again. We are a small family-owned resort. And like I said before, we pride ourselves on offering you a personalized service. We want you to have the best vacation possible. And we want you to come back again too. So what makes Reef Divers different to other dive operations? Well, Reef Divers is our dive operation across all of our resorts, and you can expect the same level of service across each location. In fact, our superior valley style service ranks as one of the main reasons why our guests do return again and again. Reef Divers, we take the heavy lifting out of diving for you, so you can enjoy the absolute best of the Cayman Islands dive sites. Valley diving means that we will collect all your boat dive gear, your BC and reg, on the morning of your first dive. You're just going to put it outside of your hotel room and we'll collect it for you whilst you go down and enjoy a beautiful breakfast. So we're going to collect the gear and set it all up on the boat for you. So when you are done with your breakfast, just hop on the boat. You just need to check your gear and away we go. When we arrive at a dive site, our crew is going to give you a thorough safety briefing. We'll draw up a little map of the dive site that we have reached. And when it's time to get in the water, our valley service appears again. And you're just going to take your mask and fins to the rear of the boat. You are going to sit on our specialized platform that we had custom built. And our crew is going to take your tank and bring it to you. So you don't have to walk across the boat with a tank on your back. So when you're all suited up, you've tested all your gear, it's ready to giant stride into that beautiful clear water. And with that, my reason number 2 for the Reef Divers difference is that you have freedom to follow the guide or to charter your own course. So you have listened to the safety briefing, you've got a rough idea of what the site is, and you're free to chart your own path with your buddy. At the end of the dive, the valley diving process is reversed. So we'll take all your gear off you as you come up from your dive. You'll go and sit and relax, maybe go to the sun deck at the top of the boat, and then we will switch out your gear for you. The third reason, we are a PADI and an SSI dive operation. So that means that we can complete certifications for both agencies. All of our rental gear is Scuba Pro. So really great gear. We update it regularly, and obviously we keep it very well maintained as well. Fun little fact is the last reason for diving with Reef Divers, we have the world's largest fleet of Newton dive boats. They were custom built with our dive operation and, of course, our divers in mind. We've got that great spacious sun deck at the top. It's a great spot to chill out on your surface intervals. And then we made this huge camera table in the middle. We've got separate gear, camera, rinse tanks, everything you're going to need for a comfortable dive when you're in the Cayman Islands. So let's talk about the sister islands. Tammy has explained to you, obviously, where the sister islands are. Cayman Brac and Little Cayman are best known for being really tranquil, and of course diving is our big activity there. It's about 90 miles northeast of Grand Cayman, so you do need to fly, and as Tammy mentioned, Cayman Airways, our national flag carrier, will be the ones to take you there. I have included a little picture there of the Twin Otter. Once you are on the islands, you will feel like you are a world away from all the hustle and bustle of, I guess, normal life. Just everything melts away as soon as you arrive. The populations of both islands are very small. Obviously, Little Cayman has just about 200, in fact, 190. And all of our people are incredibly friendly. You will find strangers that will greet you with a cheery hello. They'll want to learn your name. And like I say, by the time you have introduced yourselves, they will know your name from then on out. So our mantra at Clearly Cayman is eat, sleep, dive, repeat. We want you to enjoy every single element of your dive vacation. And we work very hard to help you have the best vacation ever. So without further ado, let's see what that looks like on Cayman Brac. Cayman Brac has 40 rooms. This little picture on the top left there is our newly renovated room. So unfortunately, it's not as a professional photograph as I would like it to be. However, we did just renovate the rooms during the pandemic, and I haven't been able to get down there and see them out for myself. So this is a quick sneak peek, I guess, of our new rooms. All of the rooms face the beach, pool, ocean. It's all kind of one area. And we do rooms in a combination of either a king or 2 twins. So if you have a dive buddy that's maybe not your life partner, then don't worry, because we have some rooms that have twins in them. The picture on the right-hand side is the Tipsy Turtle Bar. That is a perfect spot to relax after a day of diving. Grab your favorite cocktail, go to that top sun deck. It is a 2-level bar. So the main bar is on the bottom, and on the top, you can just enjoy a beautiful view with a cocktail. We do have some nice hammocks on the beach. You can see on the bottom left with a picture of the gorgeous sunset. The hammocks are exactly where you will find me after a long day of diving. Either that, or I will be in the jacuzzi hot tub of the giant pool. Some other things to do around the resort. Well, we do have a beach volleyball set up on the beach. We do have little cornhole boards. There is a little bit of shopping to be had at the dive shop. We've got some rash guards and t-shirts and things like that. And then in our lobby, we have some games and books and things like that for you to relax and enjoy. So you've heard me go on and on about the food and our Chef Gregory there on the left. All our meals are chef prepared. We have a different themed menu each night. So anything from Caribbean to Italian, barbecue, Asian, Tex-Mex. The chefs really do a great job in mixing it up every evening. All of our meals are served buffet style. We have soups, salads, entrees, and desserts every evening. You can dine in our air-conditioned dining room, or we have a lovely little screened-in porch if you want to feel more of that kind of Caribbean heat. We do accommodate for special diets. Just let us know in advance so that we can make those accommodations for you. As you know, Cayman Brac and Little Cayman being smaller islands, we do need to know in advance so that we can get the right ingredients to prepare you some nice meals for your vacation. We do have an a la carte menu available at the Tipsy Turtle Bar. And we also have a little steakhouse restaurant on the property. It's only open Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday. It's called Island Prime Steakhouse. Reservations are required because it is very small. And if you are dining with us through your dive package, then you can take 20% off your bill in lieu of your evening meal. So we do have nightly entertainment. We do like to have a lot of fun at all of our properties. We do a manager's mixer on a Monday night. Tuesdays are bingo. Then we have a crafters evening. There are crab races, which is a sight to behold. On Fridays is probably our most famous evening. That is our Friday barbecue. We have live music and dancing, and it is a great time. And in fact, it is a much loved evening that many, many locals will come out and enjoy the fun on Cayman Brac as well. So super fun. So a little bit about Reef Divers and the diving in Cayman Brac. We renovated our dive shop recently to include a new deck on the outside. We put some lovely shade sails to keep you cool while you're waiting for your dive buddy to arrive. As I've said before, we do offer instruction for PADI and SSI. The water temperature for basically all the islands in the Cayman Islands is between 78 and 85 degrees Fahrenheit. I do not know the conversion for Celsius, but I'm sure you can convert it. But basically it's warm and you don't really need any wetsuits. If you're doing multiple dives a day, then maybe you might start feeling the cold. And if you do, we have a very large drying room, as you can see on the bottom left, if you do dive with a wetsuit. Cayman Brac is known for its incredible coral reef. Perhaps you could call it a coral reef forest. The dive site pictured on the top right is called Elkhorn Forest on Cayman Brac's south side. It is one of my favorite dive sites in Cayman Brac. It is so photogenic and it's just full of juvenile fish, which is really cute to see. As I've said before, there's a great mix of wall diving and wrecks, beautiful reefs in Cayman Brac. Mostly current free, great for photographers, but one of the biggest attractions on Cayman Brac is the wreck of the Tibbets, which is in the far right there. It's on the northwest side of Cayman Brac. You can reach it by boat from Little Cayman. In fact, if you are staying at Cayman Brac or at Little Cayman, we will try and take one day out of your dive schedule and visit the opposite island. So that's always weather permitting, but we do try and let you see Little Cayman if you're staying at Cayman Brac. And if you're staying at Little Cayman, we'll try and go and dive Cayman Brac for the day. The Cayman Islands purchased the Tibbets and scuttled it in 1996. So that means that it is 26 years old. The turret guns are still intact, and you can see from the picture I've included, it's a fun photo op to kind of stand behind them and take some cool photos. The wreck itself, even though it has only been there for 26 years, the sea life is pretty well established. There's already coral growth on there, and there's a friendly resident Goliath grouper that will follow you around on your dive. So always look over your shoulder, and maybe he'll pop up from time to time. So other island activities, the island of Cayman Brac I would call it a nature's paradise. There are over 200 bird species, numerous different iguanas, amazing flora and fauna. The scenery is very dramatic and rugged. There is a plethora of hidden caves, and there's winding like trails. So if you are a nature lover, it is a really fun island to visit. These pictures were taken from an island tour that I did just before the pandemic. And so the highlights of that tour included visiting the lighthouse, which is on the top left. I did go into a few caves, one of them being pictured on the right. I did go to the top of the bluff, and I did a few trails that will kind of take you along the top of the bluff. And when I was on the trail, I bumped into this little brown booby just sitting, hanging out. And then if you're feeling adventurous, the picture on the bottom right, you can actually try your hand at rock climbing on the bluff. The bluff itself is 140 feet, and you can climb up it. There are actually different levels of climb. So if you are a beginner, there is an easier route as opposed to someone who's more advanced, who wants to be a little more adventurous. And then you can rappel down the side of it once you reach the top and start all over again. The island of Cayman Brac is really great for nature lovers. And then that takes us on to the island of Little Cayman and the resort of Little Cayman Beach Resort. Little Cayman Beach Resort, I would classify as a secluded oceanfront oasis with a relaxed island vibe. This is kind of, when I started with Reef Divers, I was trying to put into words exactly what Little Cayman was like, and that's kind of what I came up with. It is just very chill, very unique. Little Cayman with just 190 people. The island itself is truly like one of those island paradises you would think of from like the movies. We do Caribbean inspired cuisine there. Like I've said, from all Reef Divers properties, it's very welcoming and personalized service, and you will definitely feel like family by the time you leave. Little Cayman is a destination on many divers' bucket lists, and a trip to Little Cayman Beach Resort, I think, will make it a really memorable experience. So let's talk about the resort itself. Just like Cayman Brac, we have 40 rooms. Most of them are pool view, but we do have 12 beachfronts, and we do have its own little building right on the beach there. Just like Cayman Brac, there is a mix of kings and 2 twins, which will allow buddies to share. The pool is situated right next to the bar, and so our bartenders will often do laps around the pool just to make sure everyone's having fun, as you can see from that picture there. Before COVID-19 restrictions, we did some renovations to the property, including our lobby, as you can see on the top left there. We made it really bright and spacious, and you will be greeted with a rum punch when you arrive. Other than that, around the resort, we do have hammocks on the beach. They are covered, so you can have a snooze in the shade. The Beach Nuts Bar is the hub of the the island, kind of. There's not many people on the island. And it's also the hub of the resort too. You can also see our open air drying room in this picture. Just like Cayman Brac, we do have a large variety of cuisine. Our chefs are super talented. We recently remodeled the dining room And so you can see pictures on the left-hand side there. We try to create spaces that allow for larger groups, but also smaller and intimate areas for people maybe that are honeymooning or just diving with their partner. So there is a good mix of space available. Like I've said, Beach Nuts Bar is the hub of the island and at the resort. It is the most unique bar that you'll ever come across. It is adorned with driftwood signs that have been created by past dive groups and guests. So make sure to pick up a piece of driftwood on the beach and leave your mark on the bar. Just a few pictures of Reef Divers on the property there. You'll see our 3 dive boats on the dock. This is the interior of our little dive shop and obviously the exterior. But what you're coming to Little Cayman for is obviously the diving. Diving is just world renowned, especially Bloody Bay Wall and the marine park that goes with it. The wall itself comes to within 15 feet of the surface, and it is a very steep and sheer cliff face under the water. It is the most spectacular diving you will ever experience, especially wall diving. Here we often see eagle rays, turtles, as you can see there, eels, sharks sometimes, and there is loads and loads of healthy, colorful sponges and coral as well to see. Just be prepared when you do arrive to the wall that it is a sheer drop and you are just going to be looking into the endless abyss, really. Sometimes that takes people by surprise. I do recommend you have great buoyancy if you're going to be going onto the wall. As you move towards the east side of the island, Jackson's Wall, which again is one of the more famous and photographed pieces of the wall, it transitions from the sheer drop to a more gradual sloping, I guess, reef-backed little wall. One of my favorite sites at Little Cayman is called Mixing Bowl, and it's basically where Bloody Bay Wall and Jackson Wall meet. So you kind of have that transition of the super sheer wall and then obviously the gradual slope of Jackson Wall. So on that site, you'll see, basically it's kind of like a little cleaning station. So you've got loads of jawfish, shrimp, crab, things like that. So that one is a great site, especially if you're into mackerel photography. Some other things you can do, we do have kayaks and stand-up paddleboards available for rent. If the conditions are good enough, you can actually make your way over to Owen Island. You will see Owen Island from the beach at Little Cayman Beach Resort. Sometimes the conditions are not quite right for you to be able to go over there, but most days it can be flat and calm enough for you to take the hike over there. It is an uninhabited island, but it's a nice stop to go over and kind of roam around. We have the beach. You can walk along the beach, bring some good books, and we do have some bicycles as well. And if you're feeling adventurous, you can ride all the way to the tip of the island to Point of Sand, which is the picture on the bottom right. It is 8.5 miles one way, so just keep in mind and maybe try and do it early in the morning when the sun is not so hot. I learned the hard way. Our packages, so just a quick overview. All of our packages are 7 nights. They include either breakfast and dinner or breakfast, lunch, and dinner. 6 2-tank morning boat dives are included. With our Cayman Diver, we add on our 1-tank afternoon dives. And then with the Classic Cayman, the difference is we add a 21-drink package. So that means you can enjoy an alcoholic beverage or a non-alcoholic beverage, 3 beverages for your 7 nights. Resort taxes and fees and gratuities are included. And as I mentioned before, airport transfers are provided as well. So a little update after COVID-19, we do have hand sanitizer stations in all of our public areas throughout the resorts. Masks are not required at the resort, but they are required, as Tammy mentioned, in public transportation. So be sure to bring a mask with you. We have increased our cleaning schedules, especially for high touch point areas as well. And social distancing is encouraged at the resort, and it's also legally required in public spaces. So enough of me talking. How about we play this little video and actually have a look at the resorts. We're lucky to have all of our dive shops located on their property. We do take the hard work out of diving, and so we'll gear you up at the end of the boat so you can just take that giant stride in. We're lucky to have year-round diving. There's no best time to dive. Personally, I do like the summertime because it's usually really flat and calm. Our desserts are ridiculously amazing, as you can see from these pictures. We have such talented staff across all of our resorts. And if you stay there, you are going to be lucky enough to experience that. So hopefully we have converted some of the not yets to maybe into booking their next trip. But just a quick note, the fun doesn't stop when your vacation ends. Every month we host a photo contest and you can enter the best photo from your trip and you could win $200 towards your next Reef Divers trip. And then all of the photos that are submitted, we choose a best of at the end of the year. And that person will win a grand prize of a 7-night vacation to any resorts. So we have 4 in total. And the package includes meals and diving and so much more. So if you do visit, remember to take photos and enter them when you return home. And you could be entered to win the prize. I think that kind of ends things. We'll take some questions. And if you want to be friends with Reef Divers, you can find us on Instagram and Facebook at Reef Divers Caribbean. And each resort has their own Facebook page as well. So thank you, everybody, for listening. And Tammy and I are here for questions.
Thank you so much, Sarah Jane and Tammy, for those intriguing images and just getting us excited about leaving our homes and going diving again in the tropics. So I will encourage everyone to put your questions in the chat. There have already been a few. Sandra Ross is asking about what is the replenishment zone? And I think, Tammy, you mentioned that in your presentation.
We typically have these replenishment zones where, we have this program, Dive 365 Cayman, and we cycle out dive sites and pull the mooring bowl and let the dive sites regenerate. So the replenishment zones are delicate areas of the marine park where, we're allowing replenishment to take place and encouraging it.
Christian is asking, this is very interesting and very nice. You have packages for couple with one diver and one non-diver.
Yes, absolutely. We do encourage non-divers to come along and experience our islands too. And the pricing is adjusted for the non-diver as well. And Petra can help you out with the pricing.
Absolutely. Judy is asking, is there good shallow snorkeling on Cayman Brac?
There are a few spots that you can go snorkeling. Unfortunately, they're not right outside of the property. In fact, if anyone has ever been diving there, you'll notice that getting in and out of our little channel in front of the property, it can be a little hairy at times depending on the tide because it's a very shallow area. So usually it's just a little bit of seagrass. I have occasionally seen a little stingray or two in that seagrass, but unfortunately you have to kind of explore the island a little more to find some good snorkeling sites. And our dive shop can certainly help you find some good spots.
Craig is asking, what about shore dives? And I think that would be both islands.
Shore diving is not available on Cayman Brac or on Little Cayman. Again, it's the topography of the island. It's usually very, very flat, and it goes a little ways out before you reach the walls and obviously the dive sites for the sister islands. But we do actually have shore diving at Cobalt Coast in Grand Cayman, and we have a house reef there. So you can grab a tank and you can go out. I'd say it's about a 5 to 8 minute swim. You're going to swim over some hard pan and then you'll reach the little mini wall, and it drops from about 15 feet to about 40 feet. And so that one in Grand Cayman is a really nice little shore dive.
Deborah is asking, what time of year is good to get to dive Bloody Bay Wall often?
Most of the year. My favorite time of the year, my favorite month of the year is actually May. It's not too hot yet, but it's warm enough where I don't need a wetsuit if I'm diving 3 dives or 4 dives a day. And it's usually really flat and calm at that time of year. So anything from May till about September is usually those kind of flat and calm months. But usually we do get to dive most days.
So Yvonne is asking, are your resorts closed circuit, so rebreather friendly, supportive, as in O2 and sorb?
pre-COVID, Cayman Brac was rebreather friendly. However, post-COVID, we do not have the supplies or the staff to accommodate that at this time. Little Cayman, we don't have the opportunity for that. And also in Grand Cayman, we do not offer that. As time kind of goes on and supplies become readily available, that we can bring CCR back to Cayman Brac.
And then Sandra is asking if there's a chamber on the islands.
Yes, there is a chamber in Grand Cayman.
Are there packages that would include Grand Cayman and Brac or Little?
We do have a few people who maybe want to kind of split their time, and provided that we have the space to accommodate it, we'll definitely try and work something out for you. So yeah, it can be done.
Absolutely. Great. Okay, I think that's it with the questions. We are also going to move on because there is our 25th anniversary grand prize. So every booking that we receive from the 1st of January of this year to the 1st of December is automatically entered into this grand prize, which is 9 nights at Magic Resorts in the Philippines. This is when you book with us, and these are new bookings that would qualify. This is our grand prize this year. We also have a draw tonight, didn't announce that earlier. Thanks to the Cayman Island Tourism Board, there will be a fabulous gift basket for the traveling diver. I am bringing up a website called random.org. And the list of those who registered today, we have had 100 and somewhat registrations. Let me just look, 104 registrations. So I will plug 104 in here and we generate a number. Let's see who that is tonight. Number 89. And you may think always the middle numbers. No, last time number 1 actually won. So it is Kim McCloskey. I don't know if Kim is on here. You have to be on the presentation in order to win. So Kim, if you can just put your name in the chat if you are here.
She's here.
Yes, all righty. So congratulations for this. And just a quick reminder that we would love to see you every other week. We are going to be ending our winter spring presentations at the end of April. So there's a few more to come. Next, in 2 weeks, we're going to be in Thailand. Registration opens a week before. Any questions, comments, bookings, you know how to reach us. We really appreciate your loyalty and your business. Thank you to Sarah, Jane, and to Tammy tonight for your time and your expertise. We love doing these and learning with everyone together. So have a good night, everyone. And thanks again, Tammy and Sarah Jane. And we hope to see you all back in 2 weeks. Good night, everyone.